Hello again, my beautiful people. Jamaican youth here again in the building, and in this video we'll be talking about Jamaica versus St. Kitts. So there you have it, everyone. The Group A of the Gold Cup has been decided. The USA tops the group with 7 points, Jamaica with 7 points, and Trinidad and Tobago and St. Kitts are out of the tournament. The USA goes through on goal difference as they beat St. Kitts 6-0, Trinidad and Tobago 6-0, and they drew 1-1 with Jamaica, whereas Jamaica, we had that 1-1 draw with the United States. We beat Trinidad and Tobago 4-1 and then 5-0 against St. Kitts. So we're going to talk about it and talk about a few things that I saw in the game and just give you my breakdown of it. But before we get into it, remember to like the video if you haven't done so. It helps to send it out to more eyes, so please hit the like button. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, hit the subscribe button as it helps the channel to grow. So without further ado, we're just going to get right into it and talk about St. Kitts versus Jamaica. Well, you know, St. Kitts versus Jamaica, we did know that the fans were expecting a big win. We were expecting that we're going to, you know, get a big win out of Jamaica. We didn't know if Coach Hallgrimsson was going to start his first team or, you know, kind of rearrange things a little bit. But regardless of what team went out there, we expected a big result. And we were kind of racing to get against the United States to get the #1 spot so that we could avoid the Mexico side of the bracket, so to speak. However, that didn't happen. You know, so the first thing I want to say, though, is it's a great win for Jamaica. 5-0 versus St. Kitts. I'm satisfied with it. You know, I don't think we could have asked for more. You know, when we said we need to rack up the goals against St. Kitts, I think we did that. 5-0. It could have been 6-0 too, but, you know, 5-0 is still a very good you know, scoreline. It's the type of scoreline where when you look at a team like Jamaica, you say Jamaica needs to put our teams like St. Kitts. I think we did that. You know, and us not getting the top spot in the group, the USA did their job. The USA beat Trinidad and Tobago 6-0. You know what I mean? We weren't going to overcome that because if we were going to win the top spot, we'd have to beat St. Kitts 9-0, which would have been nice to see, but let's be honest. I mean, like the possibility of that happening was not very high, and 5-0 is very respectable for Jamaica, for a team like Jamaica beating St. Kitts. I can't blame Jamaica for not scoring more. I think we did well enough. If anything, you know, you'd have to go back to the first game against the United States, where we could have gone 2-0 up with that penalty, not to bring it up back again, but still, if we had gone 2-0 up with that penalty, then, you know, we could have the opportunity to say we could win the group. But, you know, it happens, and, you know, now we're in the second place. We're on the Mexico side of the bracket, and, you know, we're expected to face either Guatemala, Guadeloupe, or Canada in the quarterfinal. And I think that's going to be next week, Sunday. I mean, regardless of who out of those three we're going to face, I think Jamaica stand a good chance of winning that quarterfinal game. But good win for Jamaica. 5-0 is good, and the USA did their job to get to win the top spot in the group. I can't really complain about anything there. It was a good performance, and I will talk about some other things. The second thing I saw is Leon Bailey, I think, finally looked like a Premier League player playing for Jamaica. He had a really, really good game. I know statistically, when you look at the stats and, you know, coming from the Gold Cup or even the online platforms that did the statistics for the game, Deshaun Bernard is the man of the match. Really, he's the one that really have that, accolade, so to speak. But just watching Liam Bailey on the field yesterday was really good to see him, just being all over the field. I think he got at least 2 assists. And I didn't think he put a foot wrong against St. Kitts. His passing was good. His movement off the ball was good. His movement on the ball was good. And it was very pleasing to see him play for Jamaica like that. That's the first time I've ever seen Liam Bailey play a game like that for Jamaica. So I was pretty happy to see it. Every time he touched the ball, we looked dangerous. It always seemed as if we were going to do something dangerous whenever he had the ball. And it was really pleasing to see. So kudos to Liam Bailey. I know he has been under a lot of pressure lately. And, one could say rightly so. Maybe the pressure is helping him a little bit. But it was a really good game from him yesterday. I hope he keeps it up. Whosoever will play in the quarterfinal, the semifinal, and possibly the final. So keep it up, Liam Bailey, if you ever see this video. Really good job yesterday. And, I just hope, that you continue to keep that level. You continue to play at that level whenever you play in this Gold Cup. I think that was pretty pleasing for the fans to see. I definitely can't speak for myself. It was pretty pleasing to see that game that you had yesterday. The other thing is St. Kitts. St. Kitts kind of surprised me a little bit, especially in the opening portion of the game where they just decided they weren't going to just roll over and allow Jamaica to just come and rack up the goals against them. And after a while, it kind of got a little bit frustrating for Jamaica. We're trying all different types of, ways to break down St. Kitts. I think they stayed compact in the middle of the park, especially towards the final third of their half. They were compact in the middle, so they blocked a lot of the passing channels for Jamaica. And so we were running around the wings, trying to see if we can get the ball across, or to dribble inside or whatever. But it wasn't happening early in the game. So if you notice in the opening parts of the game, the wingers were deep in St. Kitts' half, but they had to pass it back to the middle and then switch the point of attack to the other side of the field. So if they were on the left side, the ball came back in the middle, and later, but they spread it back over to the right hand side of the field, and so on and so forth. It just wasn't happening as much. But eventually, Jamaica were able to break them down and scored the goals that they needed to. But good job by St. Kitts. They put up a decent fight. Of course, obviously Jamaica has a very potent attacking line, especially for a team like St. Kitts. So they weren't able to keep off Jamaica for the entire game, but they put up a good effort. Kudos to St. Kitts. This was their first Gold Cup, and I hope that they go back and try and recruit more people in their diaspora for their team and come back strong. I'm pretty sure they would have enjoyed this, experience. And, it was something good for them, good for their players to be playing on this level. So, hopefully they can get it right or get better and come back strong again. It's only going to be good for the Caribbean and this region in general. So that's one of the things. Then another thing I saw is Shamar, Nicholson and Keheem Parris. And I'll talk about Shamar Nicholson first. It's really kind of, disheartening to see Shamar Nicholson's form. Shamar Nicholson is a player that in the past I've kind of looked at, that this guy can kind of bring it to another level and become even a Premier League level player, but it's not happening right now, and I don't know what's going on. If mentally there is something. I know at one point he was doing really well in Belgium, then he went to Russia, and in the opening part of him being in Russia, he was doing exceptionally well, scoring almost every game or every other game. And then he just kind of fell off form. And, you know, now he's in this Gold Cup with Jamaica. And it just seems like he can't do anything right. No matter what he does, the ball just won't go in the back of the net. And I've seen him made some good efforts. I mean, the shot that he took yesterday that was blocked by the defender, that was going to goal. And I really wanted it to go in just so that he could get a goal, which is not a penalty, but just a goal in the game so that he could build his confidence, not just for Jamaica, but for his club. He hasn't scored in a while. And for someone like him who scores so often, or is used to scoring so often, you know, it's kind of a little bit, you know, concerning what's going on with him. So, you know, he never really looked very good yesterday. Just kind of seemed like every ball that he got, you almost kind of could tell that it wasn't going to materialize into anything much, because of the form that he has been in. But I think this coach really likes Shamar Nicholson. He wants to try and get him back on form, because I know if he's firing and if he's scoring, he will be a major asset for Jamaica. But he has to step it up really quick. You don't have much time, because once this tournament is over, if you haven't done well in this tournament, then you go back to your club team, and then it's the Nations League coming up, you know, and it's going to be difficult because there are going to be other players coming into the team as Jamaica tried to push to get a very strong team to represent us in the Nations League and eventually in the World Cup qualifiers and in the Copa America as well. So Shamar Nicholson, if you don't step it up quickly, you might find yourself out of this team, you know, come the next Gold Cup. And I know you don't want that to happen. Or I shouldn't even say come the next Gold Cup, come Copa America, which is next year. If you don't step it up, if you can't find some form in this Jamaican squad right now, and you go back to Spartak Moscow and it's not happening for you there either, you might find yourself not getting a game in this squad for the Copa America, which I think, you know, if you know, next to the World Cup, this would be like a really, really good tournament for you to play in. So there's that about Shamar Nicholson. And then Keheem Parris, you know, he looked okay yesterday, but you know, Keheem Parris, even though that goal, one of the goals that was scored was him putting the ball across and then it hitting off the goalkeeper and getting into the back of the net. That was good for him. But Keheem Parris needs to be a little bit more sure on the ball, needs to make more purposeful passes. You know what I mean? Some of the passes that you're making it's not going to anybody, you know, and it's not, the way you're playing is not fitting into the philosophy of the team or what the team is trying to do. And so even though I don't think Keheem Parris was, you know, terrible yesterday, he just never looked like he fit into the mold of the squad very well yesterday. And I think he needs to, you know, maybe try and simplify it a little bit, because he likes to dribble a lot. He likes to dribble the ball a lot too. And, you know, I think you just kind of need to simplify the game for yourself. You know, make the clear passes, make some more purposeful passes, and not, you know, do things that doesn't fit into the mold of the game. I think he has a future with the team, but you have to step it up. You know, you have to step it up. You have to go back to your club and you have to play more minutes too, so that you get more playing time at a high level, so that when you come into the team, you're an easier fit into the team. So Keheem Parris, you have to step up. And then finally, just a comment on Coach Hallgrimsson. One of the things I noticed about Hallgrimsson in this game against St. Kitts is that he's a very patient coach. You know what I mean? Like, I know the pressure was kind of on. If you want top spot, you gotta rack up the goals. And I thought that Jamaica was going to come out really aggressive and frenetic, come with a big frenetic pace and really go at St. Kitts. But they never really did that. They kind of, you know, played around the ball, was very patient, wasn't in that frenetic thing. The pace of the game was a little bit too slow, especially in the first half. But the overarching thing is that they were very patient with the ball, tried to build up the ball into St. Kitts' half, and then tried to score from there without, you know, getting too anxious about scoring so much, like putting the pressure on themselves to score. You know, and I think that was a Hallgrimsson thing. That had to be a coaching thing. Because, you know, again, as I said, one would think that you would come out really frenetic wanting to score, but they never really had that approach. They were very patient with the ball, playing the ball around, and then when they reach into the St. Kitts half, that's the time they were thinking, okay, how are we going to get the ball into the back of the net? And some ways were to play it over the top to try and find a Mikel Antonio. Other ways were to go down the wing and square it in, which was, you know, being closed down by the St. Kitts defenders. Some was to try and drive through the middle. But at least they decided to keep the ball and try to score, you know, in a very patient way. And I think, again, that's a Coach Hallgrimsson thing. And to be honest, I think that will serve us well for the remainder of the competition. So when we get in the quarterfinals, for example, regardless of who comes, I don't think this coach will be too worried about trying to hurrying up and beating the team that is in front of them. He's going to be patient, you know, see what the game is giving us a little bit, and then when we get a little understanding of what the game is, then he will, you know, make his attack. I think this is a coach that does a lot of detailed homework and a lot of detailed scouting of the opposition. So whatever opposition we have, he is going to, you know, really research that team, and he's going to maybe even rearrange the squad to fit the team that he's going to play. So I'm pretty sure that, you know, a question was asked of the coach in the post-match press conference, the St. Kitts post-match press conference, which is, do you pretty much know your best 11? And, you know, the answer the coach gave is that he pretty much picks the team based on the opposition that is having, or based on the strategy that he's trying to employ. Whether that be, you know, I'm trying to try a different formation, experiment with a few new players. I see where if I play a particular player, I could exploit a opponent's weakness. That's how he picks the team. So there might not really be a quote-unquote best 11 for this coach, even though there are some players that are probably sure starters. The Andre Blakes, the Damian Lowe's, the Damari Grays, the Leon Baileys, the Mikel Antonios, the Bobby Reeds, maybe even Kevin Lambert. But I think that he will, you know, the way how he plays will serve us well for the remainder of the tournament. It means that there's really no need to fear who we get to play. And even though we're on the Mexico side of the bracket, I mean, Mexico was beaten 1-0 by Qatar last night. You know, so Mexico is not unbeatable. You know, it's just a matter that, you know, it's one of the more difficult teams in the group to play, and it would be best if we could have avoided them. But, you know, let's not look too far ahead. Let's look at the quarterfinals first and get past that stage, and then we'll move to the semifinal. But I think in the quarterfinals, I think this team will get past the quarterfinals. I think it's a really good team. And I see us getting to the semifinals. And then when the semifinals come around, if that so happens to be Mexico, because Mexico is not unbeatable, if it so happens to be Mexico, that will set up a really big clash. At this point, it's time for us, if we want to win tournaments like the Gold Cup, we have to beat the big boys. So we can't afford to run into Mexico. If we do, and, you know, we can't beat them. You know, so those are some of the things I wanted to talk about. Good game. I never really did a video about the pre-game to St. Kitts because I really expected us to beat them, and we did. So kudos to the reggaeboyz. And good luck as we move forward. I know next Sunday is the next game. So kudos to the reggaeboyz, and definitely looking forward to, you know, watching that game. I think that will be in Cincinnati. So until next time, everyone, take care of yourself, and I am out. Remember to hit the subscribe and the like button on your way out, but I'm out.